Jared Polin, FroKnowsPhoto.com, here with a preview of the Nikon D5. Now, this is the first time we get to do a preview with the actual camera in our hands, and I want to talk about who it's for, what it's going to do, the main specs, and what I see as the major features and functions. Now, when we do get one, when I buy one, we'll do a real-world review at that time, but let's talk about the price. $64.99, not terrible. It's basically on par with what the D4S and all those were in the past. It's a professional body. It is expensive, but what you're paying for is what you get in this camera. We are looking at a 20.8 megapixel sensor. That's up from 16 in the D4S. Again, I don't care about the megapixels. I care what the camera is going to do for me. Now, there's two different versions that you can purchase. There are two different ways that you can get the memory cards. You can get two compact flash memory cards, or you can get the camera with two XQD cards. I'm gonna go with the XQD for the extra writing speed. The XQD cards are just faster and better, but if you do get the CF1, Nikon says that you will be able to send it in for replacement to get two XQD cards put into the future, but I would suggest getting that right in the front. We have 12 frames a second in continuous with AF. You can do 14 frames a second when you lock it up. You can also do 4K video, 3-minute clips at a time, or you could connect an Atomos to it to do clean out. That may be what we will do with it, because 3-minute clips, that gives you about a 4 gigabyte file, because that is the limitation that it gives you right there. Checking my notes, it says 200 raw files continuous in 14-bit compressed, or also they said in 12-bit uncompressed. Now, it probably could do more, but that's just the limitation that I'm being told that it can do. ISO, wow, natively 100 ISO to 102,400. That is native. That means you are going to be shooting in asininely low light situations, but keep in mind, if you have no light to begin with, it doesn't matter what your ISO is, your picture may still not be good. Now, the difference here is when you can max the ISO out to something like this, at the lower ISOs, it's probably going to be much cleaner. Now, the not recommended modes, in the low 1 or whatever the low is, it does 50, but in the highest, it does this. Wait, pause for it, pause. 3,280,000 ISO in high 5 mode. That is absolute insanity. We're gonna have to check that out to see how it works. But what does it smell like? You know what? Nobody's touched these yet other than me, so I can smell it. Oh yeah. Feel the burn. Richard Simmons smell. How can you not beat sweating to the oldies with Richard Simmons? It smells like him, sweating. So here's a function that I was really happy to hear that they announced, and it is a touchscreen on a professional body. But now that I get to touch the camera, it's not exactly a touchscreen that I am happy with. Not because it doesn't work well, it feels great when you're touching it. It only is for scrolling back and zooming in on photos. I also saw that you could touch focusing points, but I can't change anything in the menu. What is the point of having a touchscreen if I can't make changes to it? The D5500 does it, and it does it very well. I wish that that would allow me to do it in here. It's a nice step to add touchscreen, but it fails to add the functionality that I want in a touchscreen. We have the same battery, different button layouts. They moved the mode button from this side now to the top dial. They put the ISO button here, no longer on the back. You have some new buttons down here for continuous shooting modes. Oh geez, I almost forgot. How can you forget focusing speed and focusing modes? That's one of the most important things. 153 autofocus points, 99 of them are cross-type with 55 of them selectable. That is super fast, and there's almost zero blackout time when you're shooting. So as you're shooting those 12 frames a second, you can still track your subject and not lose where they are, because they are in the frame with you. Now, it feels very similar to every other Nikon Pro body. It's with just some tweaks. That's what's great about the Nikon bodies, is they just refine a couple of things here and there each model, but when you pick this up, it's gonna be like shooting your old cameras, because it's very similar. So I think I've covered almost all of that. Oh yes, one thing, if you're gonna be a flash photographer, you now have radio communications with the new flash. That means something for you guys that do that. That's what the new Nikon SB5000, which is something that they didn't really talk about right now. Did I forget anything, Steve, right off the bat? No. I think I've been pretty good, but again, this is a preview to talk about this camera. Mine is on order. I cannot wait to get it, which means my D4S is for sale for somebody that's going to purchase it. But what am I most excited about with this? It's not the megapixels, it's not the 4K, it's the focusing system. Having that speed of the focusing system and that many focus points should really help in the situations that I am shooting in. So that's where we'll leave this preview. There will be other videos in the future, but until then, Jared Polin, FroKnowsPhoto.com. See ya. So if you like that video and you'd like to see more in the future, including all real-world reviews, including the ones that I do of this camera, well, go ahead and hit the subscribe button right here to be notified when new videos go live.